Hello everyone, Merry Christmas. Hope you're having a happy holiday season. It's Friday, December 23rd as I'm recording this, and I thought as I teach you 3 new chords and 1 Christmas carol, this would be a good time to do a Christmas song. And this Christmas song is going to help you learn these 3 new chords. And you already have more than 5 chords. You have, G, C, if you've been following along with our videos, D, E minor, A minor, A. So we're going to add today, and by the way, I apologize. There comes a time in every guitarist's life when you have to learn the F chord. Most people find it unpleasant, but if you relax, take your time, it's really not that bad, but don't feel like you're alone if you struggle with this chord. Now, I'm not going to teach you the bar chord version first. We're going to learn bar chords, and those are great. You can do bar chords all up and down the neck, but especially as a beginner, this is lesson 12. You need to get a little more dexterity in your hands and a little more strength in your hands. So I want to teach you the kind of cowboy chord version, the standard F. And so then I'm going to teach you the B7, okay? And then the D minor. And we're gonna learn the song "Oh Holy Night," and I'm gonna throw some things in there, a little bit of picking and strumming, and then these 3 new chords. Now that you have the F, along with the G, C, D, all the others, your ability to play songs is really increasing now in terms of what chords you know. So do remember, in our lesson number 9, we talked about how to change chords faster. You start out slow and you memorize the shapes, right? And get it right. So all that fun stuff. So here's the chords we're going to learn. So here's the F. So you can see on our chord chart here, I put the finger numbers, so number 1, and it shows a bar. In this F, you're going to bar those first 2 strings. This is the smallest string. Remember, this is the thick string. And you're going to bar them. So what that looks like on the guitar neck is this. This is the time when you're going to sort of use the pad of your finger because you're barring. Now, all the other notes that when you chord, you want to be on your fingertips, but when you bar, you kind of have to use the pad of your finger a little bit, and really it's going to be kind of the side. So you want to chord these 2 notes, okay? And then you want to take your middle finger and you want to put it in the 2nd fret on the 3rd string up. Always remember, we count from bottom up. And then you're going to take your ring finger and you're going to put it on the 3rd fret and on the 4th string. And that's the string, that's the F note, and that's the string you're going to strum from. So you strum from that F note. Now you'll notice my hand, again, you try to keep your thumb kind of perpendicular to the neck, up and down a little bit, but this is one, when you start barring, you're going to have to kind of turn your wrist just slightly, a little bit of rotation to be able to bar. So my thumb, you can see, is kind of going that way a little bit. But when you look at it, I'm still using that thumb. That's where I'm getting my power to be able to push those strings down. So play through your first time each note, see if you're muffling. And a good trick to do if your chords kind of sounds muffled and things is take a look at your hand and see, hey, is some of my finger flesh touching another string? If I got my fingers on the right string, sometimes even this part of your hand can like touch the bottom string. Probably one on this chord because you're barring it, but look at those things and try to diagnose what's going wrong. And don't feel bad, like I said, F is not an easy chord to play. Most people don't like the F. They don't like this version, and they don't like this version either, okay? And I didn't even play that version. There we go. One way to think about it, the C, if you just take these 2 fingers and drop them down 1 string, and then bar the bottom one, now you're an F, okay? So that's the F chord. Very important. A lot of stuff opens up to you now that because you know G, you know C, you know D, a lot of stuff is going to open up to you with that F chord. And then there's the B7, okay? So again, on the B7, we don't play the top string or the 6th string, and we take our middle finger and we place it in the 2nd fret on the 5th string, and then our 1st finger, and go to the 1st fret on the 4th string, 1 1 down. And then we go to the 3rd string and put our ring finger down, and our pinky will go down on the bottom string in the same fret. And you're strumming from this note, the 5th string, because this is the B. Remember when we learned the neck, the second string from the top, or the 5th string, is an open is A. So this would be A sharp, A sharp, B. Okay, so that's the B note, and that's the one you want to hear. That's the bass note there. And so that's the reason it's called a 7. And I'll just briefly say this: we're going to learn more about why. We're going to learn more about the major scale. There's lots more to know. Is a dominant 7 is typically written like this. You'll have the 7, or it'll say DOM 7, which is a dominant 7. And what that means is in the chord, you play the 1st, the 3rd, the 5th, and the flatted 7th note in the scale. So a flatted 7th would be you take that 7th note in the scale and flat it. And on guitar, flatting a half a step is 1 fret. Okay, so what makes it a 7 is that we added the flatted 7th to the notes in the chord. Okay, and then there's a D minor. Now remember what happens with the minors. You play the 1st, flatted 3rd, and 5th. So here's your D minor. You put your 1st finger on that 1st string, 1st fret, 2nd finger on the 3rd string in the 2nd fret, and then your ring finger on the 3rd fret and the 2nd string, and you play from the D note, which is the D string or the 4th string, and that's D minor. Yeah, it's not good to reach over the neck like that. I'll talk about that later, but as a beginner, you don't have to. No, it's probably not a good idea to try to put your thumb over like that. Just play with your thumb back here. So you have the 3 chords. Okay, so now for the verse. You can see I've written the first verse here on my whiteboard, and I've got the chords written above the words when we make the changes. I want to introduce you to a little bit of a different picking pattern. When you first learn it, it's perfectly fine just to strum 1 down strum from the notes. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to add something a little to it, and it'll kind of get you used to picking and building your dexterity and accuracy of your picking a little bit, is you can start on that C, where that C note is, the top note on your C chord, and go down 3 strings one at a time, and then come up the bottom 3. Doing the same thing on the F. Remember, you move these 2 fingers down and you bar the 1st string. And you can do the same thing starting on that F note on the 4th string. You don't have to do it that way. It's just something that you can practice. And you can do it with the G. Again, with the G, you get to hit all 6 strings. So. If that's too frustrating for you, that's fine. Let's just do the strumming till you learn the song, and then you can work on that. You can also use your fingers. I'll talk more about finger picking later, but let's learn the song. Okay, so that is the verse. Okay, now for the chorus, here's where you're gonna use that D minor chord that we learned. So the chorus starts off in A minor. The strumming is a little bit different, whereas earlier we were kind of using that picking pattern, or Or if you were just strumming softly, that's fine too. But now we definitely want to strum and a little bit louder to make that first part of the chorus sound a little bit bigger. Fall on your knees, oh hear the angel voices, oh night divine, oh night when Christ was born, oh night divine, oh night divine. So that was just a very simple, and you can see it only goes to that D minor there once. Just remember you want to hit from the 4th string down. If it's not perfect, that's okay, but you don't really want to hit these top 2 strings. You want to try to focus on that bottom 4 when you hit that D minor. But this is a great way to practice, to go from that E minor to the D minor. And you can do it a couple of different ways. If you use these 2 fingers, and that's okay, you can do it this way, or if you use these 2 fingers for your E minor, that's perfectly fine.